Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Man Alone Solo Role Playing YouTube channel. I'm your host, Man Alone. Boy, I am jazzed to talk solo gaming today, and I'm determined to turn this sour mood of mine around. I'm already feeling better now that we're here together. But I have to say, my channel has, for some people, the amount of like subscribers that I have, they'd say more, and I say I can't believe it. I can't believe it. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I'm so happy that I get to connect with all of you and make these videos and just share my love of games uh, and solo play and all of the interlinked thoughts and reflections and commiserations. Does that work? Almost everything about having this channel has been awesome. Almost. But one thing, and it's relatively a recent phenomenati, is that I don't know what it is. I must have passed like a certain threshold in viewers or something, but about 6 months ago, I started seeing an uptick in um collaboration emails. Now, really, like, to be clear, I'm not talking about individuals. I wish that I could collaborate with more people who email me with like different project ideas and stuff and play testing or working with me. Like, um, that is something that is not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is people who they want to help me to grow my channel, and they always have the same sort of tone. It's always written as if like I should be honored that they have deigned to reach out to me with their secret knowledge of a search engine optimization. And it's just trash. It's just total trash. And every time I get one of these, and they're getting more and more invasive. I got one the other day where this guy like linked all my I don't even know what the hell he's talking. I don't even know what this means. It says your SEO score is 45. You're not taking it. You're not choosing the right titles. You're not covering the right games. Um, and I could. He said that he could help me to grow my viewers. In fact, this is, he said, more subscribers and growth. And again, that the the closing, the sign off here is always something like this: I am waiting for your reply. You'll never. Well, actually, I do want to start replying to these. I want to start billing these people because I have to read these emails. It's not always apparent at first that like what type of email it is, because they'll usually put something that makes it feel personalized. For instance, the other day, one dude uh told me that he uh, saw my video of me streaming Darktide, and I was like, "Oh, I didn't stream that. I It was a video, but okay." And as I'm reading it said, you know, um, "It's clear that you have a passion for video games, and so I would, partner with you." And I'm like, so this guy uh just looked at a title of one of my videos and saw Darktide, but didn't even click on it to see that I was playing the card game. It was a card game video. I wasn't streaming Darktide. And 4 minutes of my day just gone with this garbage. This garbage, hype, like anemic sort of language that is just it's revolting. I want to build them. I want to say, I had to read your email. It was junk. It was trash. I hated it. I hate that it exists. I hate that I have to sit here and grieve the fact that search engine optimization exists. So please send $7, to this PayPal account for the damage you've inflicted on my mind. Although I will say, the email I showed, I am waiting for your reply. Number 5 was more subscribers and growth. I did kind of get my money's worth because number 2 was so good. Number 2 was it was a chance to make viral. Oh, Steven made a little pile of viral in his pants again. Come on, let's get you cleaned up. He made a little bit. Yeah, we knew he had a chance to make viral. Oh man, amazing. Yeah. So I know what SEO is. I assume it's more than actual search engine optimization. I don't think there's a lot of people who are like doing Boolean searches for my video on Morkin, but um, I don't care. I don't want it. And the assumption that it's so cynical that it's just like, well, hey, you're doing this. Clearly, you don't care, and you're just trying to make the most money you can. Uh, and it's pretty amazing. And I was thinking about optimization and how, broadly speaking, I think that optimization is like uh one of the most like satanic eldritch forces in the universe, because I truly do think that, when we talk about um heat death is just going to be like optimization of the universe. It's just like doing search engine optimization but with like string theory. And so I with no definitive purpose in mind, I seek to uh, uh rather than optimize, I want to delegitimize, bastardize, ostracize, um, mesmerize, if I may. Or I want to do the opposite. I want to intentionally make things less streamlined, less ordered. I think that is like important spiritual work, to just go in and you see a bunch of stuff that's optimized for profit, and it's like everything, it's making squeeze cheese out of the whole world, hyper flavorful junk that slides easily down your throat, and I just want to knock the easy cheese over. And so to that end, I would like to start a new segment that I hope is an ongoing segment. And basically, it is the opposite of SEO. I'm gonna try to tank my SEO, and the way I'm gonna do that um, is I've begun looking for games that just don't get any love, not because they're no good, but because the people who make them are people who make games. And just because you make games doesn't mean you also make videos, or that you also know how to do marketing, or that you also know how to format things. And so we people now have to be all of these things. And some people just they a lot of people, they just don't have they've got their lives going on. And there's something very unfair about this, and there's a lot of cynical stuff that even happens by so-called like creators in the tabletop role-playing space. I don't think that's news to anybody, but there are games that, like, I think nobody really knows if they're good or not. They just like, it's just sort of consensus. Um and I'm not saying those games are bad. I'm just saying that there are a lot of other games that are as good or better that just don't see the light of day. And so I've been patrolling around YouTube, Drive Through RPG, looking for just the right person. I do believe I have found them. Well, at least for my first episode here. Um, I would like to, if you could, this costs nothing. So whether you're able to buy this game or not, I think it's on sale right now on Drive Through RPG. We'll talk more about it, but if you can, if you could subscribe to Playful Raven here. And 3 weeks ago, Playful Raven put out a video on their solo game Vessel Warden Sin. I don't know this person. I've never met them. I've never spoken to them. I was delighted to see that in their. I ordered, so I saw that, and the view count has held to this point. But I ordered the book, and I got it delivered. When plunderers forced their way into protected ancient pyramid, they uncovered a colossal metal vessel no human hands could have forged. The moment they disturbed its heart, reality split open, and the pyramid exploded, releasing the first nightmares into the world. Now the rift spills demons and impossible horrors into the mortal realm. Kingdoms collapse, faith rots, and the Veilthra, mysterious minds from beyond time, whisper tempting promises through the wound in reality to the desperate. Only the wardens, ghosts of a future forever lost, know what really occurred, and the weight of their failure haunts them. Cool. Well, yeah, sounds good. Vessel Warden Sin is a solo RPG set in a grimdark fantasy world on the brink. Step into the ruin. Choose your path. Discover what the breach in space and time wants from you. And this is made by a human. No AI used for plot. No AI for game mechanics, for artwork, for graphics, for arrangement. No AI. Um, Step towards the veil Thra's whispers. The wardens deny us our transcendence. I can't stand it when these wardens deny us our transcendence. But right off the bat, so I promise I'll stop reading right after this, but listen to this part. The world of Nerith was built upon, this is acknowledgments in the back here, was built upon ideas that have been bouncing around in my head for years. Until now, I never really knew what to do with them. I am not a natural writer, so putting pen to paper for a novel was never going to happen. Once I discovered the wonderful world of solo RPGs, I finally knew what I needed to do. The main inspiration for this game came from the games I have played and enjoyed, listed below. Here are some easygoing ones. Notorious by Jason Price. I got it. Be Like a Crow by Tim Roberts. I've heard that good. I've heard that's good. I always pick it up when I see it and I go, it's okay. Wraithhound by Cesar Capacle. That's very good. And Cesar is really good. And Cesar, if you're watching this, what's going on with Mouse Sworn? Can we get an update? And then, of course, Solitary Defilement by 1D10 plus 5 and Broken Shores by your boy Alex T. A very cool game set in a flooded water world setting. I loved all of these games, but I wanted to create a system that sat comfortably between easygoing and in-depth. By no means am I the first to attempt this, but rather than continue overwhelming myself with new systems, the games above had already sparked my creativity enough that I decided to write my own. Towards the end of the project, the nitty-gritty details naturally began to slow my progress. That was when I discovered a fantastic podcast by a chap named PJ. PJ Sack, the Solo Role Players podcast. I listened. I'll put a link to that below as well. Maybe I'll put the episode that I'm on. That was the first guest. Whatever. I listened to it during my commutes and the inspirational interviews with top tier creators. That would include me. Really fired me up to finish this project. So thanks, PJ. As an average family man, I am incredibly proud of this work. I hope that anyone reading this enjoys their time in Nereth and perhaps is even inspired to create a game of their own. Thanks, Playful Raven. So we're gonna play Vessel Warden Sin. I don't know if it's good. I don't know, but it doesn't matter. because there's no reason why Playful Raven shouldn't get a shot to share their talent. And I knew when I watched this video, by the way, within the first 4 seconds, I knew that this was the right choice, because you can tell in the first 4 seconds that he is doing his absolute best to be making this video. But I think that Playful Raven would prefer not to be making a YouTube video. And you could tell because when you started the video, it was silent. I thought my speakers were off, so I turned up my speaker, and then he goes, "Hello." Here, let me show you. Here.
Hello.
Here, watch.
Hello. I just wanted to
All right,
give
I'm
a
not
really
picking on him, but
quick
there's one more
example
part of this that
play
I gotta
of
show you.
Warden Sin, a solo RPG.
I'm absolutely certain. I wrote it down. At 1 minute 27 seconds, I think he says hot dog companions. You tell me. You tell me.
Objectives, outdoor complications, just fleshing
Sorry,
things
he
out.
says hot dog complications. Listen again.
And then you've got your competing objectives, outdoor complications, depth to your surroundings.
He says hot dog complications. I keep pausing the damn video instead of the video in the video. I wanna just say, Playful Raven, thank you for that video. I'm gonna take it from here. I'm gonna do a video for you. I have a little bit of experience doing this, so let me. You wrote a good game. Take some plays off. Relax. Have some hot dog companions. I like that though. It's like a hot dog and then a little hot dog companion next to it, like a sidecar. And we are going to do our first and hopefully not last edition of. And I just want to say, I am, when I say I'm tanking my SEO, it's not because this game is bad. It's because I'm not doing 5e. I'm not doing pan finder. This is not what the algorithm wants. But you know what? Maybe the algorithm can just open its mouth and eat something more nutritional. And so I am the new series. I will be working on improving my SEO, and by SEO, of course, I mean satire about Enron. So welcome to SEO, where we see my earnings obliterated. My SEO is currently at 45, and we're going to see if we can get it down to 40. So today we are going to take a look at the sensation that's taking the nation by storm. Which nation? Hard to say at this point. I know that it's got Lesotho entranced. And pretty amazing, because I mean, well, on one hand, it's like, okay, if you put Keith Richards on the front of a game, people just by that like sort of name recognition are going to take a look at it. But there is actually within Vessel Warden Sin a very, very interesting solo system, and it is a solo game. And I dig solo only games. And for I don't think it's his first thing. He's got a couple like Merc Borg supplements, but pretty much his first standalone game. And right off the bat, I was like, why did I never do this? In the video, which was very good, Playful Raven. I'm just gonna he's like, yeah, I put all of my all the action checks are on a like a black page, so you just have to look for that. You could flip through it right away, and then he made a red page for combat. So it's like it's so easy to like find where you need to go. But I think like I was pretty blown away with how many like innovative ideas. Now, who knows, like we got to put all of those together, but for instance, combat in this is going to be a card-based combat that has a resolution system that is pretty simple, but like also I just haven't seen it very much before. And there's faction elements. It's got like a pretty good amount of lore. There's sanity checks. Everything surrounds stamina, so there's no HP. You just kind of get messed up until you're just like, no, I'll die. But yeah, so uh, there's there's a lot of solo tools that are ready for you as well in the back. And a nice flow chart with everything. This is combat, how to take a breather, fleeing, how to do a day. And oh yeah, I have a character sheet. I broke my Jorma stamp on this. I actually think I have I have the video. I was like, because I'll like sort of film B-roll sometimes before I start. And I pressed the Jorma too hard. Here, let me see if I have that video. Yep, this was it. This was the moment. I almost put it there, and then I was like, "Oh, that's not the box." Oh my gosh, I almost Jorma'd the. Oh, please hold. Please hold. I said. I super glued it back together. I think it'll hold, hopefully. Okay, so we have here the very simple character sheet. We need some like your basic set of dice. We have uh cards, and it did say that need like something to write on because he there you have to record something in the game, but I'm just gonna grab like a notebook or something. All right, let's take a look together here. So how can I let me give you like an overview of the story. And I'll give you probably like 90% accurate, I'd say. Yeah, I'd say it's 90. So basically, this is set in Nareth, and this is actually a really, really good uh, idea. And pay heed here. Those of you who have like wanted to write a book forever, this is the kind of thing. This is a big reason why I started writing solo RPGs, because I always wanted to write a book, and I was like, I don't have the patience. I can't sit down and do it. And then when you start doing this and creating like world building, suddenly you're like, oh, like this is 84 pages, and this could be the thing you need, because as I read through this, I was like, this is actually a cool setup for like a grimdark fantasy sci-fi book. And that's what it is. It's like dark fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, cosmic horror. It's very like just how I like, very grim, bleak, survival focused. Um, it's this cool way of combining the swords and kingdoms. Is that the thing? Swords and kingdoms fantasy with like this story of a buried future technology, and it kind of like is like a dimensional horror. All right, so okay. In Nareth, the planet, their far future, humanity becomes this like very advanced starfaring civilization. They build this ship called Solace, or Solace One, and I don't really. It uses its dimensional energy drive or something to fold space, et cetera, et cetera. But during its first test run, instead of traveling, it gets thrown a million years backward in time to like Nareth's deep past. And the ship crash lands, and its reactor is damaged. Here, let me actually get to like the story part here. So the reactor, it says still pulsing with impossible energy, was damaged, and the ship succumbs to the gravitational pull. And so so it still very obviously has whatever sort of like power source it was operationalizing, that is still active, but like the ship doesn't work. So they're like, okay, we're stranded, and this ship is a dimensional folding ship, and so if anything happens to it, it's going to fold time, and basically if people find it, even if they bang a club on it a bunch of times, it could potentially like blip their timeline out of existence. So we're stranded anyways. Let's build a huge pyramid, um, and make it look really secret and mysterious, and then hopefully the future civilizations will treat it with like a sort of reverence, a sort of spiritual awe, and nobody will mess with it. So this worked actually for a pretty long time, and then you get to the Middle Ages, and this is, I guess, thousands of years, maybe tens of thousands of years. There's these treasure uh, seekers, and they breach this pyramid, and they disturb, of course, this dormant reactor, but it doesn't explode. It tears open reality. And so this is kind of like trench, sort of like Prometheus meets Trench Crusade meets Battlestar Galactica. Um, it tears a hole in reality, and there's this like occult rift, and it's this waypoint that forms between a bunch of different worlds and times and dimensions. And of course, through there comes a bunch of aberration monsters, demons, crazy stuff. And most notable among them is the Veilthra, which are these like, they're very intelligent, higher dimensional beings. And luckily, sort of, they can't actually come into Nareth in physical form because of just like they're on a different dimension, but they are able to exert influence by like whispering into people's ears, corrupting their minds, and they can also like do it to beasts, and they start creating these cults. And they don't just want to invade, but they want to essentially, they're regular Drukaris. They want to take Nareth's sun and essentially, I guess, make like a Dyson sphere and just suck all the energy out of it. They do the whole Travelmadorian thing, if you've read Schluhaus 5, and they perceive time all at once. And to them, this time in history is like the sun's ideal harvest point, you know? They're like the foodie couple, that like, oh, the tomatoes were so good. It's just the ideal time for those Roma tomatoes. So yeah, it's basically like this medieval civilization. It's collapsing because they basically, the bunch of humans from their own future crashed the ship and tore this rift open. So the other major faction in the world is the Wardens. And so in the far future where Solace came from, humanity eventually discovers what happens, or what happened to the Solace One. And they're like, oh man, we created an unstable timeline. And so they can't erase it without just making, typical time cop. If there's a documentary called Time Cop, you should see it. And basically, in that documentary, the host, whose name is Jean Claude Van Damme, says, "You cannot have two mad." I can't do Jean Claude Van Damme, but the whole thing. You can't have. We're just going to create more paradoxes. Reality is going to keep branching off, and so they basically do like the Terminator thing, and they're like, well, we'll send some Kyle Reese's back, some machines back to try and contain the damage and seal the rift, and keep this corrupted branch from like corrupting all the timelines. And so these wardens come through, and the people of Nareth, who are in the Middle Ages still in their development, are like, oh my gosh, these are like angels or demons or demigods, and they're like descending from heaven, and they're coming in these impossible ships. And really, they're just like humans from the future. So now you're in the age of rupture, not rapture. And you got the monsters, mutations that are coming. This is a timeline right here that probably I should have just read this, but the age of rupture, the monsters are coming through. The cults of Velthra are rising from the whispers. The wardens are here to save the day. Maybe there's some indication in the book that maybe they're definitely not like knights in shining armor. I'll say that they probably are like the protagonist, undoubtedly, or at least like as close as it can come to the good guys because they're trying to stabilize things. But I don't necessarily think they're good. I think it seems to me that they're happy to exploit the fact that people think they're demigods, which, by the way, reminded me of a movie that I can't say I loved it, but it was extremely interesting. It was a Russian movie called Hard to Be a God, which has some of the same concepts of this, of like going back in time and stopping them from developing technology. Anyways, so yeah, we're in the age of rupture, and we have now there's all this sort of uh, these cults, but also you have these warring kingdoms, and they describe like the different factions. There's a whole section on factions. Here's a good question: why don't the wardens just travel back before the launch and prevent it? And of course, it's the time paradox. But it says, but in this story, the creation of the divergent future of Narath is now unavoidable. It is as it has happened. Duh. Um, yeah. So magic though is like it is sort of misunderstood future tech, but then there is this genuine, I guess, occult leakage from the rift, and so science and sorcery are both present, and they're kind of like bleeding in to one another in really interesting ways, which leads to more interesting lore. So I wrote down four things. One, you had the primordial era. Solace One crashes in the past. Survivors buried under a pyramid, and myths of the sky gods begin. Sound familiar, Dad? Classic. Then you have the classic kingdom era. Civilizations rise. The pyramids become sacred, and then it starts to get plundered. The reactor is activated. The occult rift opens. Then you have the far future where humanity is the ones who sent them back. Future humans begin the time wars against the Velthra. And then the current era is the age of rupture, when the hemorrhoid you've been ignoring, monster spread, cults flourish, wardens are here to save the day, question mark, and the whole world lives in the shadow of the first wound. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think I can carry on and go through all the factions. There's like from after this, there's like this whole like 6 or 7 pages of like a political map, and you can pick it up on Drive Through RPG if you're interested in that. But we're gonna keep scooting forward. All right, so I wanna get to the action check, because I think this is really really cool, like seriously cool. So the notation for how the difficulty of something is, um, the first time you read it, it takes a little bit. So I'm glad that I get to explain it, just so that nobody puts it down and says, "Oh, I don't get it." I mean, it's not that hard, but I'm just not quite so bright. So first, you're gonna decide the obstacle difficulty, right? So I'm trying to push a big rock out of the way of a door. I don't know why someone put a rock in front of a door. So easy would be 3, standard 6, mild, average 8, difficult 10, and like dangerous would be 12. All right. It's not automatically the target number, it's the maximum value you're allowed to accept with the cards. And so, hang with me. So these cards have this value. Jack is 11, queen is 12, king is 13. All right. So you decide the difficulty. And let's just say that something has a standard difficulty of 6. Okay. Again, this is not automatically the target number. It is the maximum card value you're allowed to accept. This feels odd, but basically you're going to draw cards, and if the card value is at or below your chosen difficulty limit, you keep it. If it's above the limit, you discard it and draw again until you get one that fits. So this is basically how we're going to figure out how difficult our dice roll is. Now, this is going to be standard. It's pretty easy. I think these are pretty well shuffled. And so I need to find a card that is at or below 6. So a 4, perfect. If I had pulled a jack first, that's too high. This is a standard difficulty. So a jack being the card I have to beat, no way. So I would just like keep going until, oddly enough, I found a 4. So now 4 is actually the thing that I have to beat, but it gets even cooler because you then have to roll one of your dice against it, and your dice is a depleting pool. You have to choose one of them, you have to roll it, and whether you beat it or not, that die goes away. And you don't get it until you rest. You rest overnight, you get all of your dice back. Otherwise, you need to, like, I forgot, take a break for a certain amount of time. But it's like, oh, it's a 4. Do I really want to like use a D4? If I use that, that's pretty risky. Actually, I think that's impossible because I think you have to roll over. Let me make sure. Yes, it's roll over. So in the beginning of the game, or at least in the quick start they give you, you start with a D4, D6, D8, D10, D12. And in order that this is your stamina pool. Okay. When you roll these dice, they're spent and they move out of your available pool. So every risky action depletes your options. That's the real pressure of this game. It's not just like, can I succeed, but how much of my stamina pool am I going to burn to do that? You recover the lowest discarded die for each hour of non-strenuous activity in a full uninterrupted night. Restores your whole pool as well as the fatigue condition, which is really bad. That's a major bad. If you do something that makes you become fatigued, you have to roll disadvantage and you stay that way until you sleep through the night. So you really this game is all about getting your 8 hours of sleep. So we have this 4 here. And we have to beat it. So like I was saying, it's like, okay, I can't roll a D4 because I can't beat a 4 with that, right? But maybe this roll is like really important. You know, it's a standard roll, but like if I don't get it, my whole momentum's going to stop. And I'm like, dang, do I really need to waste one of my dice here? Well, you could roll as many of the dice as you want. So you can roll a D4 and a D6, which like forces a success here because you're going to roll 5, 2, 7, but then these are discarded. Hell, you could roll all of your dice and then you don't have anything. You can't do anything. But there's also, and this I think is I keep saying this. I don't want it to lose effect. But it's true. This is another really interesting part of the system is there's this environment check. And so it's not so like you clear the obstacle. That's not the only question. It also asks you like what was the environment helping, hindering, and you compare it. You draw a second card and compare it to the first, based on how dangerous the environment is. And so we can talk more about that, but just to kind of if you're picking up what I'm putting down here, or maybe need like one more example, let me show you one more example, and then I'm going to show you how combat goes, because as you can imagine, that's also really cool. So let's say I have something that's pretty difficult, and we'll say it's an 8. All right. So I'm going to draw cards here until I get a card that is equal to or less than 8. Nope, queen's too high. A 3, that's a great pull because that means this was a tough test, but for whatever reason, I just have to beat a 3. And I got to beat it. So I'm like, I'm going to roll a d6. Okay. And so I'm going to roll the d6 and I met this. I did not pass it. And so this is gone and I failed that. Okay. In combat, there is the notation is also the way when I first read it, I was like, what? But then once I got it, I was like, whoa, cool. So you give your enemy, let's say you meet somebody who is this is like their stat line. Deck 5 queen ability on clubs. Is that a club? Am I up in the club? I can't come in the club. Deck 5 queen ability on clubs. And so the enemy gets a personal deck of 5 cards. That's basically its combat endurance. And you have to work through those 5 cards to beat it. This is the maximum card value allowed when I'm building that enemy's deck. So if the notation says queen, I'm going to draw from the main deck, but I'm only going to keep cards that are queen or lower. So if I reveal a king or an ace, you discard it and draw again. So this is a powerful enemy. I don't have a good sense of things yet, but I think because it only has 5 cards, it might be like a glass cannon. But we're going to look here and I have an ace. All right. So we're going to discard that and draw it again. And I guess, yeah. So the queen is we're able to keep that. And so this is the values that I'm going to have to beat in combat, and then ability on clubs. If one of the enemy's cards is revealed as a club, that's the enemy's special ability. And the rules say you define the ability, which I am fine with that. I know that some people would be like, "Oh, I don't feel like coming up with that." Well, tough tomatoes, but also I think that's a great opportunity for someone to like create a really cool bestiary and different stuff like that, because it'd be so easy to fit this stat line, and it's a pretty complete combat. So the whole thing is how many cards they have, plus how high those cards can be, plus what suit or I guess number triggers their trick. So the deck 5 queen ability on clubs. The ability fires on any club, and they could have all clubs. Let's try another one. Actually, they give another example. Let me check. I think it's deck 4. All right, cool. I found one in the book that is actually like more. I think that last one was like a really really difficult combat. So we're gonna say deck 4. So the enemy has 4 cards and nothing. Each card has to be 8 or lower. And if the revealed card is a diamond, the enemy does a feint. And this is one of the established sort of specials. And a feint just means -1 to your roll for that attack. I also worked this out. I mean, it's fairly obvious, but when there's more cards in their deck, it's going to be a longer fight. When it's a higher cap, they're going to be harder cards to beat. And obviously, more frequent trigger conditions, it's a nastier enemy. So we have this deck 4/8. So we have to build an enemy deck of 4 cards. And so, all right, that's too high. So that one's out. There we go. A 3 of hearts. Keep that. 9, too high. 8 of diamonds. Yep, we can keep that. Equal to or less than. 6 of clubs. We can keep that. Ace of hearts. Get rid of that. 2 of spades. So we do have a feint. So I have 4 cards. This is their personal deck. And so now we take the enemy's personal deck and we shuffle them. And so now combat begins, and we are going to reveal. I just want it to be the what I want. The 8 of diamonds. All right. So this tells me two things right away. I have to beat an 8. And because it's a diamond, the enemy's feint triggers, which means whatever I roll, it's going to be -1. Okay. And so we would roll stamina to beat that card, but we can also, as you might imagine, you don't have many, like, even at the beginning, like, this is not a lot of stamina. And so first we decide whether to attack. And if you do, we're going to roll stamina dice, try to beat this 8, but the dice, remember, the dice we roll are discarded whether we succeed or fail. So let's say we have the full pool here. Feint gives us a -1, so we can roll a d10. We can roll a d6 plus d8, or d8 plus d10 if we really like wanted to force it. And let's just say that I roll a d10. Okay, I rolled a 2. I failed. All right. And because of the feint, it's actually a 1. So this is discarded, and the enemy card stays in play. I have to try to beat that same card again with new dice if I can. Now, say that I rolled and I did D8 and D6 instead. Wow, that's a bad roll. Let's say I succeeded. Just for the purpose of this. Okay, I succeeded. So 5 plus 6 is, let me make sure that's a 6. Yep. 5 plus 6, that's 11. The feint gives us a -1, but that's still 10. 10 beats 8, so I succeeded. So both dice are discarded, and then the 8 of diamonds is discarded, and the next card. So the next card is the 3 of hearts. There's no feint. Hearts don't trigger that ability. So I can attack again. I have D4, D12. I could roll the D4 and hope for a 4. If I roll a 2, I would fail and discard it. But if I roll a D12 and it get like at least, well, I don't want to get rid of my D12. That's my only hope, right? So we keep, jeez, a 0. We keep going until one side loses. And if I clear all the enemy cards, the enemy is defeated. I've won the combat. If at any point I want to roll, but I have no stamina dice left, I have to lose the fight, but I can make a last stand action. Okay. And let me keep going forward because I'm going to make a note. I want to talk about the environment roll in the last stand. You know what? Forget it. I'm going to lean into my issues. So we're going to do environment roll. We'll do the last stand. I'm also going to explain the breather and fleeing, because I think all of these are, well, at least 3 of them are like the oh no valves in this game. Okay. So the environment is it tells you basically the quality of the outcome of the action. Breather is going to be like a crummy, shaky recovery. Fleeing, obviously, you want to break out of combat before you're fully spent. And last stand is you lose the battle, but you get to stick up the middle finger while you're escaping. All right, so the environmental roll. This actually shows up in last stand, so it'd be good. We'll say the action check pretty simply is, did I beat the number, right? You're determining it by flipping the cards, and then you have it. You're trying to roll one of your stamina dice over it. The first card is the obstacle card, gives you the number to beat with stamina dice. But there's a second card. All right, so we have that 4, and the second card is the environment. Now, I would say that this is probably optional. There are 3 categories of environment: safe, normal, dangerous. And probably those of you who are like familiar with strong hit, weak hit mechanics, this is an interesting version of that. I think it's not exactly it, but it brings some of the same effect into it. And so you could either have a safe environment, a normal environment, or a dangerous environment. And so this second card comes up, and if it's a safe environment, all that has to happen is that this second card has to be a different suit from the first one to count as overcome. And basically what that means is a clean success. It's a safe environment. 3 suits out of 4 will give me this full overcome. In a normal environment, it has to be a different color. Okay? So it has to be either diamonds or hearts. And then in a dangerous environment, you guessed it, it has to be the same suit. Okay? And you want to either get those outcomes to have a clean overcoming of what you're attempting. So the second card doesn't change the obstacle number. It doesn't make it harder or easier to achieve that. That's the same. We have to roll over that. But it changes the nature of the result. If you pass the obstacle and overcome the environment, then the answer is basically yes. Yes, you tried to jump over the stream. Yes, you did. If you pass the obstacle but you don't overcome, it's a yes, but the environment hindered you. And so that could be you maybe got a little injury, maybe your coin purse fell. Maybe as you were jumping over the stream, a fish flew right into your cash and prizes. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, if you fail the obstacle, now this is interesting too. Say you fail the obstacle, but you overcome the environment. Well, no, you didn't succeed, but the environment gave you an interesting opportunity here. No, you didn't. You weren't able to jump over the stream, but you fell into the stream, and while you were down there, you found perhaps some loot, or you found that fish that jumped right into your cash and prizes, and now you get to exact your revenge. And of course, if you fail both, it's no and extra danger. And basically you just roll an injury, which is like your injuries are as those stack up eventually, it's like life, you just keep getting slightly more injured till you die. What did George Carlin say? The death is caused by slowly swallowing saliva over the course of 70 years. And I think there's some solo play, like creativity in there. So again, I don't know why I'm doing this to myself, but okay, we're climbing out of a window. The guards are coming. And we determine that this is a standard. So we'll say that it's a dex 6. Or not dex 6, sorry. We'll say that it's a difficulty of 6. So I have to get equal to or lower than 6. 5, okay? And I roll my stamina. I'm like, I cannot let these guys take me alive. So I'm going to roll my d12. I fail. Okay, so yeah, let's go with that. So my environment. There's like directives in the book to determine the environment, but like it's not freezing cold. The window isn't super high. It's not a dungeon with like blades coming out of the window. I would say that it's pretty safe environment because we're talking about the physical environment. Yes, the situation is rotten. Well, let me make sure of that. Gosh, why do I do this? Yeah, I take it back. So the situation is dangerous. It's a dangerous situation. And so let's say the environment card has to match clubs, and of course it doesn't. And so this is like a no. So they They pull me back through the window. They take fish, and they hit me on my cash and prizes. And that's an injury. It's called fish slapped. Now, you're like, man, I suck. I need to take a breather. I used all my dice. I'm a bum. And breather exists both in normal action checks like this and in combat. And in both cases, it means roughly the same thing. You stop trying to push at full speed and instead you try to take a breather, stabilize yourself. So mechanically, you roll your available stamina dice at disadvantage, which means you roll twice and take the worst result, and you're not allowed to use any advantage while doing it if you have anything else that gives you advantage. If you still beat the obstacle card or the combat card, you get a reward. You keep one of the rolled stamina dice instead of losing them all. See what I'm saying? Discard any other dice you rolled, and then you regain the lowest value die from your discarded stamina pool. If you fail, you just lose the dice you roll and get no recovery benefit. The text does say that it's usually smarter to try a breather on easier obstacles or weaker attacks. So you could think of like breather as like, let's take a few plays off here. Let's pump the brakes. So in actual terms, it's not like heal up for free. It's more like take a risky turn to catch yourself before you collapse. Like take a turn where the odds are a little less in your favor. So you might not have an easy time actually doing the thing in the fiction, but you're going to be able to like charge yourself back up. You're accepting disadvantage in hopes of slowing the rate at which your stamina pool disappears. If you're already under pressure, breather can save you if you gamble on it if you gamble on it at the wrong time, it's gonna make things a lot worse. And we can come back to that when we have an example of it. But fleeing is the game's like, I mean, it's more than just like running away from combat. It's a necessity. Like you probably won't be able to do anything. So basically, if we had that deck of 4, you count and say we used 2 of them or got through 2 of them. We count the number of unrevealed cards and you add your sanity to that number. So that's actually one of the things that you track here. And that total is what you have to beat by rolling whatever stamina die is available, and you can improve your chance by abandoning stuff. So you could be like, I will you get +1 if you throw your backpack away or get rid of all your coins. That's another +1. Throw your weapon away. Get rid of your shoes. You could take an injury and get +1 to all those. If you fail the flee roll, you have to take an injury and the fight goes on. But if you succeed, you escape, but you're now fatigued and you need to go find a bed to get your 8 hours, or else your sleep apnea is never going to get better. I think you track sleep apnea here. And then I mentioned last stand. This is when you have no stamina dice left. At that point, instead of like just dying, you make one last action check with a D4. And the obstacle part is like unusually grim. You roll it with a D4 regardless of what was in your stamina pool. And the limit is max ace, meaning that the obstacle could be as high as anything in the deck, and on top of that, the environment's automatically dangerous. So the second card has to match the first card's suit, and if you fail both, you go to the fate result for whatever beat you. And there's like different. We could take a look at what one of the fate results are. It's basically like a death save, I guess. So, so we'll roll a d6 here. And I got a 4. We were robbed and beaten, lose all coin and rations, and take an injury. If I rolled a 1, we're just murdered. But again, yeah, this is all of that stuff that I just really poorly said is all right here. And then the page before that is action checks. Now, what if I told you that we're still not done with super fun stuff, because if any of you have played Notorious, you know that Notorious has a very interesting system, which I believe is based on a Carta system. Well, I was actually thinking, these are good, but I was actually thinking of Dead Belt. And in Dead Belt, I can't ever let this go. I'm so intrigued by it. Basically, you're doing salvage on these different ships, and to construct the ships, you put out cards in like the shape of whatever ship it is, and each card that you flip, not only like what uh, the result of it is, but also like where the location is in the uh, however the ship is set up, as well as like how far along in the salvage or the scavenging that you're going. Outsiders and Notorious, I don't think it has anything like that, although it does have just a beautifully inviting book that is like, hey, please play me. This is a fantastic books for starters. Any of you buy the new card game? Jason Price released a card game. Anyways, this sort of expansive use of the card deck comes into play again in Warden Sin, in a variety of ways. So exploration here, just to give you kind of like a little bit of a peek at all the different, look at this is such good mechanics, and all these to guide you through it, a flow chart. Good job, Playful Raven. But yeah, so here's like a new day. Here's a weather. Here's like the different modes of travel, how long things take. Outdoor travel encounters, D20. Hunting, camping, settlement exploration. So you could buy a map, you do a location check, you can ask for directions, and then you actually like set up a settlement. So you would like walk into, um depending on how big it is, you would actually like set it up with the cards, right? If you're like, oh, there's 4 huts or whatever, it would be, you'd walk in here and you would like flip them to see what you found. And then there's D12 settlement encounters. Same thing for dungeon exploration, room encounters, rift anomaly exploration, a D12, open seas exploration, tables, all of these different NPC encounters in 4 different areas, NPC reactions, random supplies and loots, random locations, what's on the horizon, a random table that you roll to see what happens when you complete an objective. So each time you complete an objective, you get to roll on this to see how the story progresses. Outdoor complications in Nareth, major events. Oracle of Continuance. What's next? Oracle of Continuance, death. And then an entire gameplay example at the end as well. So the last thing I'll do, just to get everybody sort of to have their raft pushed off, if they're interested in this, is first of all encourage you, if you're curious about this, check it out on DriveThruRPG. I'll put the link below, and it's available PDF or print. And if you act swiftly for GM Day, it is discounted 40%, so you can get the PDF and the softcover print on demand for $9.40. The PDF is $3. Please, if you are able, this is who we should support, people, and encourage people to be making these games. That's for sure. But also, looks like a cool game, right? I mean, looks like it has some really cool ideas in it. And this is what we want to encourage. We don't want the same old junk. We don't want search engine optimization. We want the search engine catastrophization. All right. So there is an option at the beginning of the game, and that option is you could do a quick start, where you just like start as a character, which I think is pretty cool. And it's kind of like a tutorial walkthrough. We might do that just to like, I think that'd be a good level of thing, but I want to generate a character. And the character is called Jorma, and it's a D20 for where am I from. Do a little dice nesting here. And this is a D20. 17. You live in a small community called Cleveland. You work at your uncle's steel mill. I roll this every time. No, I'm just kidding. You live or lived with a small community of mountain people near the Sunspire Monastery. So now we go to the map, the world map. And it's the Sunspire. I see the Sunspire Citadel. That might mean what they're talking about there. And oh no, there's the Sunspire Monastery. Great. So we start up here by the free marshes of Valen above the dominion of Estera. I like it. What's my profession? You make t-shirts at your uncle's No, I'm a researcher of wardens. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's good. That's good. Let's keep going. What's my belief? 13. The Veilthra are gods of truth, not chaos. The wardens are liars. So I am in a cult. But I am a researcher of wardens. So let's say that, like, maybe I'm not in the cult, but I'm starting to, through my research, I'm starting to have kind of like heretical ish thoughts. Like I'm starting to like ask questions that people are like, you shouldn't ask that. What weapon do I carry? 1. A sun steel longsword. Now, the weapons do give like I think a +1 or something. I actually need, maybe we'll find that out in the through. And what's my trinket? 7. A sun medallion. Looks like I'm Mr. Sunshine. And wasn't I from the Sunspire? See, this is good. This is shaping up to be somebody who is just blown apart by eldritch gods. Was my quirk? 14. A ghost only you can see follows you around offering unhelpful commentary. And this ghost's name? Is this my... Oh, actually, this might be a good thing to use sometimes here as well as my playing card dice. But right now I'm looking for my lettered... Oh, here we go. So this person's name is Wild. No thanks. P. L. We'll say it's PL. Let me get another letter. PLE. Pele. PELLE. Pele. And where am I currently? Maybe it... Why did I just roll that? Maybe it'll be the ghost who starts putting these thoughts in my head. The Obsidian Sea, battling with the sails of a boat. So I'm in Astera right now. Warden's down. Kelthra up. So that'll be like a central conflict of mine. I'm a researcher, and I'm from Sunspire Citadel. But right now I'm in Astera. And so that's... says I'm in the Obsidian Sea. That's the Obsidian Coast. So I guess all of it's the Obsidian Sea. It's a great character generator. What happened? Depending on your current location in Areth, roll a 1d10 on one of the following tables that corresponds to the region that you are in. So we're in Astera. 3. A voice speaks from the High Prophet's throat, calling for the Sunspire to fall. So my first objective is to infiltrate the sermon and end it before the words reach too many ears, or join the motion and destroy the spire in the mountains. So we'll have to determine, like, my character has some internal conflict here, so we don't know what that's going to be. What identifies you? Think about your character up to this point. What's the main thing that identifies them visually? For that, let me just use my rando cards here. And stop. I'm not going to go with my first thought here because the first thing I saw was no butt, and I was like, my character has no butt. Let's see. Innovation, skill, obsession, commitment. All of this seems to be like forehead chakra. I don't think there's a forehead chakra, but I'm saying like the crown chakra. Character up to this point, what identifies them visually? They have bad posture. They keep their head down. They have like they have a hood, and it's just like the thing where a person doesn't, like a person's body can sort of like take on certain things through their lives. Like I don't I'll just keep my eyes down. I'm not important enough to like be looking upward. And so the forehead is kind of like downwards right now. What brings you to these lands? This can be connected to the objective or not. Visiting relatives. So I would say that I probably volunteered to find and destroy some Veilthra artifact. Let me read this again. A voice speaks from the high prophet's throat, calling for the sun spire to fall. So we got to figure out, I think the high prophet. So if I'm going into a place where they want my monastery to fall, and I'm a researcher, then maybe I'm there to sow doubt. I'm there to sow doubt into this because I have done research on Astera. Why did you take on this task? Because I have morbid curiosity. And what's in your pockets? Roll a 1d100. This is the starting coin. Before you start the game, you may use your starting coin to purchase any items you think you'll need. Rations cost 5 coins each. Remember to try and be realistic about what you can carry. Gain 1 random scroll by rolling on the scrolls table, which is a d50. All right, let's see what we got. All right, Ethel, do your thing. 43. All right. So we got 43 coin, and what is the gain 1 random scroll? Oh, it's not a D50, it's just on page 50. A D9. To cast a spell, you must have the scroll for it in your inventory. Casting a spell is instant, and you can try to cast one at any time. Spells are very dangerous and can backfire. Roll a d20 and add your total sanity damage to the result. If the total, so by the way, sanity is kind of like your slop category where it's a thing. It's like almost a wound. It's a way that you don't die right away when you like run out of things and you get injured in combat, but like your sanity, it progressively unravels you to make you less predictable, and eventually that's what probably does you in. Any result of 14 or below, the spell resolves its failure rule. If you are using a spell for a hostile's ability, you will need to convert the rules to apply. For example, Blood of the Forgotten King, spell 3, success could mean the hostile regains a beaten card at random. Okay. And it says spells roll 1d20, succeed on 14 plus, fail on 14 or lower, backfire on 6 or lower. How interesting, though. That is, oh, okay. It's not a d9, I was going to say. So we'll roll a d11. The Warden's Grasp temporarily summons ethereal limbs to restrain a foe. On failure, the limbs appear but fade too soon. On backfire, the limbs cling to the caster instead. That makes sense. So Warden's Grasp. Now, I'm not sure, like, do I perma have this scroll? I'm going to look up what the deal is with scrolls as well as weapons. Okay, I like this. So, sanity is addressed when something deeply disturbing, terrifying, or morally questionable happens. I like that. That's like a mothership. Take an action check to see if you take sanity damage. Sanity damage is never healed. If you fail the check, increase sanity damage by 1 and draw a card. If the number on the card is under your new sanity total, then you panic. When panicking, you must do something reckless that causes an injury in an attempt to isolate yourself, eat a ration, and remain fatigued for the next day. Additionally, in a fleeting moment of clarity, you may increase your ability total by +1. And there's actually something here that I kind of appreciate is that very early on in the book, and I think some of you might feel differently about this, but I actually think that this is a game that earns this little section right here. Right side, vague rules. Some rules are intentionally left vague. This is such that rules don't become too cluttered with things that can be resolved by applying common sense. For example, how do you fix armor? Probably take it to a shop. They will fix it for a fair price. They need the business after all. You may even be able to fix it yourself. It will just take some time and material. So, in the wrong book, this could be a very frustrating thing to read, right? Especially I find in um, books that apply a lot of heavy crunch statistical lifting in some areas, but then in other areas they say, "Oh, we'll just figure it out." And it's like, "Oh, okay, so when you want to make it really complicated, we'll just, sit here and push my abacus back and forth for 6 hours, but when I want to know something, you're like, "Look, man, I can't answer all your questions." But here, the reason why this feels very earned is because the author goes out of his way to like simplify a lot of things. And I also, it's the book is 84 pages, which is just about the right size here. It allows me to do just about everything I want, and it doesn't fall into some familiar traps that other books fall into, which is like having a whole lot of nothing. This book space is very well used, or having too much something, which is something that I struggle with. And I think I think in a lot of ways, like, again, there's a little bit of a finesse here with this. It's hard to say exactly why this feels like it fits right here, but I think sometimes it could be like a form of respect for the player. And if there's enough supports in place, enough of the essential tasks of role playing that are spelled out, then this feels somewhat supportive, like a manager who trusts you, rather than a scatterbrain manager that you never feel like you know what your job is. And I think that this is good to inhabit the solo role player role more, which is like, yeah, we can figure out how to fix armor. That's not like we don't we don't have to worry that that's something that we do just so. Um, for whatever reason, I'm very impressed by this book. I really am. I wasn't even expecting this, and I've been sort of discovering it as I've been talking about it. I've just been pausing this video, reading, and coming back. But there's something here that's really strong. There's some understanding of this of solo gaming that's very strong here. It's like he follows through on the promise that other games make to give me a sort of complete experience that allows me to step inside that experience rather quickly and get going. I do feel like the system it's imperfect, it's incomplete, right? I'm sure that some of you are like, well, what are you going to do in this situation? What are you going to do here? What about this? What if you XYZ? And it's like, yeah, I get that. And for some people, it's just not going to be their thing. But I think about sometimes uh when there's a lot of cards and dice and systems for determining difficulty and stuff like this, what I find is, and what I won't say I'm blown away, but like I feel very um like I feel like he hits something here, which is that um there is very often when we start doing these sort of clever mechanical things, the game can become too clever and it becomes procedurally generated. Like this game could have very easily been a procedurally generated hex crawl. Because that's the temptation. Once you make like one thing work, you're like, well, this card system works really well. And then I can use the results from this. And then we can have them travel on a map. And then when you enter a new hex, you do this. And then if you roll a d20, you encounter this, or you get this loot, or you fight this enemy. And then this is the process for fighting the enemy. And it's like, there are games that I feel um are like approaching the horizon of this kind of thing, which is like equally For Against Darkness plus the openness and allowances of something like Ironsworn. But and I feel this myself when I start when I'm creating a game where I go, well, if I can figure out a system to resolve this, like a set mechanic to resolve this, I should do it, right? I That's like if I want to determine how much HP the player recovers overnight, or if I want to create a system for scaling enemy difficulty, well, if I can figure that out, I should do it. That's only fair. That's only the right thing to do by the player. But when you solve everything, when you terraform every nook and cranny of your game's mechanics, it 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 turns into For Against Darkness, which is not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. A lot of people like that. I have grown to appreciate that in some way. But this is almost like, I think if you're somebody that I mean, this is just what he said. He said he's trying to find something between what was the two extremes here. Easygoing and in depth. I think this is it. I think he did it. It's like not um there's not that open-endedness of Ironsworn where you sort of like have to determine, oh, how many beats did it take for me to fulfill this objective? And okay, this person, I just met them and here's their personality and their drive. And if that's like a little too open, and then 4AD is too um like structured, regulated, I think this is it. And I really encourage um Playful Raven to keep playing. I bet that's his name is Playful Raven. I bet is like some like my name, Man Alone, is it's Malone, right? Malone. So I bet his name is Plavin. Let's continue. All right, injuries and death. If you fail in action or are defeated in combat and survive, roll the injury table based on the cause. Most injuries will heal themselves. If you acquire a fourth injury, it is always fatal. Get injuries healed faster in towns or cities. You'll need coin. Was the injury caused by something embarrassing? Roll D4. So obviously the table gets worse as you go up, and it has on the right side red banner here, so it's easy to find these injuries, which is such a clever way to do it for a print-on-demand book. Yeah, so bruised pride all the way up to you're barely alive. Sounds like the beginning and end of a Friday night for me when I was. All right, so then here's the weapons. Light weapons are +3 on D4 combat rolls. See, that's cool. It's like, yeah, it's a +3, but only when you're using your smallest die. Ranged weapons, advantage on all range attack rolls. Relic weapons, advantage on all rolls. And then armor is worn. You could decide to let it take damage during combat and retain a rolled stamina die. Dope. Oh, I like that. So you can have a free failed roll. And then items, you have to figure out what they do. Searching for objects. Searching for objects, I would maybe make that. I would use the environment check for that. Oh, sorry. Let me So you're saying use the yes no oracle? I think you do the environment check for that. And you say like there's just so many possibilities here with because what it comes down to with the dice then is it's sort of like a wager, I really like that. If you gain or an increase in your ability, you add a permanent +1 modifier to any die. Yeah, dude, this might be a real. This. Yeah, like, let me know in the comments if you're feeling the same way as I am of just like this is a system that has enough for customization and difference and unique things to happen, right? It's not like you're playing the same game and getting red sword, silver sword, magic sword, and that's it. That's all you'll ever get. It's more than that, but it's like just a little bit more than that to provide variety. So rules on stealth, etc. All right, let's play through. How long? Oh my gosh, it's an hour and 27 minutes. That's all right. Who cares? What do you got to do? I've got nothing. You got laid off today. They didn't tell you yet? No, not from your job. From the swimming pool inside your apartment complex. You can't swim there anymore. All right, so kind of flying in the face of everything I've said throughout this whole entire video, I just want to let people know that I did create some new items in the my spring store that's below my video, and so this one, oh, that's cute. You should hang out with your shadow more often. They're actually pretty cool. This one says, would you look at that, it's my turn again. And I have these available in all sweatshirts, t-shirts. I did not say anything about divorce. I am simply completing the rest of our marriage on solo mode. I can't believe I just laughed at my own joke. That's so lame. Okay, sorry. It's just kind of funny though. I forgot what I put for the 4 bubbles though. Those were pretty good. Hold on, let me see this. Oh yeah, this one is controversial. I don't read that one. Don't go to the website and read that one because if you're a certain type of gamer, you're going to get mad at this one right here. Okay. I sold 4 of them. 4 against brokenness. All right, so we're not Astrid, we're Jorma. We're a sword from the slums of Al Nareth. Well, no, we know where I'm from. I'm from the Sunspire Citadel, but let's just go through it. They're paying you well to travel the Frostspire Mountains, confirm the rumor, and retrieve anything valuable. Reaching the glacier will take 3 days of travel through harsh weather. So I'll just follow the beats of this, and I'll kind of like dance around the book over here and use the dice rolls. So 54 for weather. All right, so it's a D10. 5. Blizzard, near zero visibility and perilous travel. Players may become lost or buried. Very good. You begin with 1 day of rations, so you'll need to hunt tonight. Maybe some penguins. You also have full stamina, which is a D4, D6, D8. It's all of them, right? D10, D12. Good. And I have my trusty sword, +1 on all rolls. But I'm interested. So I actually have a long sword, and so I assume that that's probably also. I mean, a trusty sword is +1 on all combat rolls. That's pretty darn good. I guess though the other ones are like +3 on certain kinds of rolls, so they're more specialized. I'm just looking up weapons. Nice. There is not an index, but there is a nice table of contents. And weapons is page 40. So I have a Sunsteel long sword, living spear, long sword, great sword. Okay, so sounds to me like I have a standard melee weapon because I don't think it's heavy two-handed. I don't think it's ranged. I don't know if it's a relic weapon. It almost seemed like I rolled the best thing on the table because I rolled a 1. I mean, that was pretty cool, right? I mean, there's not. Yeah, and then 20 is no weapon. A Sunsteel longsword. I'll just give myself a +1. And your plan, travel 2 days while avoiding trouble. Now, I know that there is like a general, yeah, so this is the travel. I'm on foot. Kilometers. Never mind. Cancel everything I said. The 3rd day, seek a settlement to rest and resupply before approaching the glacier. So day 1, we're going to roll on random travel. So we don't have like any specific thing to do. We're just trying to like stay out of trouble. And that's on page 56. So let's see what we get here. This is a D20. 10. A group of soldiers stops you for questioning. Their tone suggests you're already guilty of something. Outcome, delay / potential hostility. Determine the group's mood by using NPC reaction table. This is great. Okay, so we'll determine their mood. Then we'll see if there's a challenge here. Then we can rate it to see what we have, like what kind of difficulty it is. So we'll go 68. Think of a suit and reveal the top card of the deck. If it's the correct suit, they're friendly, helpful. If it's the correct color, they're nervous, edgy, unsure. And if it's wrong, they're angered and frustrated. So I will say diamonds. Yes. So they are very friendly. And what does it say? A group of soldiers stops you for questioning. Their tone suggests you're already guilty. They say, hey, I'm going to stop you right there. It looks as though we've been having a little bit of trouble here on the road. We have some bandits. I'm just seeing if they have like a general oracle here. That would be one thing that would be kind of missing here. Yeah, just like an input oracle would be kind of helpful. Actually, why don't we just use the mini Mork manual solo pamphlet RPG. This is what got me inspired to start making those pamphlet RPGs. Well, this and a lot of other good ones, but this one has a portents D20 table here. So I just want to see what these soldiers are saying to me. 13 is oppress. 5 dungeon. Okay, oppress dungeon. They say, excuse me, sir. Now, we are a group of soldiers here in Astera, and we're here to keep people safe. You know, that's the bottom line. And so we don't mean to make you feel like we're questioning you. You're not under arrest. But you do have to answer honestly. or else Bruno here, and he points to some guy who's his whole life has just been beating people up. And Bruno here is he's going to hurt you if you don't tell the truth, okay? And we don't want that. But we have been alerted that there's a bandit hideout. They have a dungeon. The entrance is somewhere around here. And we wanted to know if you had any information on that. And of course I say, I don't. I really don't. I just got here. I'm on a journey right now, and so as you can see, the weather is getting worse, and I wish I could help, but I'll be on my way. And they say, okay, well, listen, you seem like you're telling the truth, but if you hear anything, we just want you to know that there's a little reward in it for you for any information leading to the location of that dungeon. Finding the location, we give for that 12 coins. But for clearing out that dungeon of all the scum inside, we have a much more lucrative prize available, which is investigate friend. Investigate friend. Oh, okay. We're currently running a special right now. If someone were to find this bandit hideout and clear it out, you're considered a friend of the Astera investigative soldiers. That's the unit we're part of. So it's sort of get out of jail free card. And I'm like, I'm sorry, get out of. I don't understand. So you can do a crime or whatever. Maybe you have done one, and you just give us the ticket that we'll give you, and it doesn't even matter what the crime is. We'll just let you go. I'm like, wow, that is incredibly irresponsible. Thank you. I will let you know. Absolutely. And if you need anything, just shout 911. All right. So now we have to get some food because we only have one ration. Oh, how interesting. So there's this little like with little daylight left, you hunt. So the hunting process is just what, like high-low? So funny. Draw a card and guess higher or lower for the next card. If correct, you find prey and gain a day's ration. All right. Ah, one of the worst cards. Higher. Yeah, I got a ration. Finding a safe campsite. Draw cards until you reveal a number card. Oh, this is fun. Okay. Choose a pip on that card. Draw another number card, any card. If the second card does not contain a pip in the exact same position, you found a safe spot to camp. Well, I'm going to say this right here, right? That's the least likely pip. Damn it. Okay, I overreacted there a little. Darn it. If the second card does not contain a pip in the exact same position, you found a safe spot. Let's assume the night remains safe for this quick start. Well, no, I don't want to do that. I want to find out what happens if I didn't get a good campsite. All right, this will be a good way to end it out. So it says basically if you don't, you have to start an encounter during the night. So you get disturbed during the night. Now this is a place where we would add a little bit of as the game went on, I would begin to be dissatisfied with the randomized nature of that. Or maybe I wouldn't. I don't know, but I'm saying just if I did, I'd be like, well, I should get better at finding camp, or maybe the camp should be modified by like the weather or the location I'm in. And so we've already established a bunch of options. Like if you think the pip thing is too difficult, be like, okay, I'll do the suit thing as I get, my survival has gone up. And so now I just need to do the thing where I have to pull a card of a different suit. It doesn't take much to do that. It doesn't have to be clean and perfectly balanced. But we're going to start an encounter. All right, so basically, it says here are a few examples of hostiles with stats, and it just gives you the threat level. You can add this sort of details about it. A low threat would be good odds, but never underestimate. A punter, a mugger, or angry villager. This would be deck 2 and a 4. A medium threat, one ability that only triggers infrequently, which is deck 3, max 5 with ability on 5s. Mercenary, pirate, cultist, or dog. High threat is deck 4, 8. Ability on diamonds. And then this is the one that I did first, the deck 5 queen ability on diamonds or 5s. 5 of diamonds, you are destroyed instantly. That's a catastrophic threat. And then it gives some examples of hostile abilities. Breather, cast a spell, quicker frenzy, dodge, flee, brutal. Might make a table out of that, might be useful. And then we have that feint. Let's say maybe I want to see what this one does. What if we do? We'll start it at a deck 3, 5, 3, 6. So we literally have to. Oh no, it's only 2 of them. Mamma mia! All right, so 6, 3, 4. And we'll shuffle those, and then we'll say that the ability is like I'll call it what do they call it in Slay the Spire? Like metallic. I forgot what it is, but every time the ability hits, the all the cards in here are like +1. So it increases permanently is what I'm saying with the number, or the number of cards laid out is the plus of the next one. So let me shuffle these up. And we have a 5. Oh, I was supposed to say ability on, I should have called that before the turn. So we'll say ability on spades. So I have a +1. I have to decide what I'm going to roll here for a 5. I mean, I don't want to run out of stuff. And I know that I got a 6 in there. So I'll try to get lucky. No, that's too lucky. I'll roll a d10. Ooh. I'll roll a 6 and a d6 and a d4. 9 +1, 10. All right, so that one's out. So now a 6, but it's +2, so it's 8. This is actually way too tough, but okay, whatever. So it's an 8. So the next one is a 3, so that should be 3 + 3 is 6. So I could probably win that with a d10. I don't want to use everything. I'll just roll a d12. Should I add something? No. I'm really. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if I roll this d12 and it's like a 4 and then we'll roll both of these. 6 plus what? 7. I'm at a 6. No, is that a 9? 5 plus 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. But that is 7. So did I beat it? No, it's 8. I failed. Well, this is where I would run away. And he rolls a 1. Okay, I can feel the tip of my nose. I'm so tired. This is Vessel Warden Sin. I hope that you can see that this game is pretty darn cool. Link is below. And Playful Raven. Thanks. I hope more people can enjoy your game. It's really cool, and I hope you keep making games. And I hope that all of you continue to support people who are trying new stuff and are not cynical, and also let me know. Here's the only rule. You can't recommend me your own game for this. It's got to be somebody else's that you think needs some attention, and I can take a look. No promises. Bye.